As with any exam question, the first thing to do here is work out which topic we're dealing with. And we've got this f minus 1 of x in the question. And remember, minus 1 in function notation means the inverse function. It's not the reciprocal, it's not 1 over f, it's the inverse function. And if you need to revise those, then inverse functions are revised in Blue Book 2, section 2.4. I would also really recommend that we sketch a graph of this original function for f of x before we work out anything else that's happening here. So remember that e to the x is exponential growth, and then e to the x minus 4 translates that graph 4 units to the right. Both of these graphs have horizontal asymptote at y equals 0. So in fact, we're given the domain of this function f is all real numbers, and we can see that the range of this function f is going to be y greater than 0, and that's going to be important later on. So now let's actually find the inverse of this function f. That's the main goal of the question. So remember, the strategy here is to take the function but rewrite it with x's and y's swapped. So we're going to have x on the left-hand side equals e to the y minus 4. And our job now is to rearrange that to make y the subject. So let's make a little bit of space and deal with this algebra. First step, we got an e on the right-hand side. So if x equals e to the y minus 4, then ln x is just y minus 4. And then we can add the 4 across. So 4 plus ln x equals y, or y equals 4 plus ln x. So our work is done. Just to put it in the correct notation, let's summarize that as the inverse function f inverse of x is 4 plus ln x. Looking back at the question, let's just check we've reread it. So find f inverse of x and state its domain. So we've still got one piece of work left to do here. Now you have to remember that the domain of an inverse function is the range of the original function. The domain of f inverse is the range of f. Now when we looked at the graph earlier, we saw that the range of f was y greater than 0. Therefore the domain of f inverse is going to be x greater than 0. Remember, because it's a domain, it's expressed in terms of x. So there we go, we have the inverse function and we have its domain. We have 3 marks.